Good evening, Guardians, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Tower Talk Live. I'm Ben on the other end of the microphone there. Can't even talk. On the other end of the microphone there. I forgot how all this works, man. The other end of the microphone there, that's Mr. Brent Felsing. This is Tower Talk. This is our Destiny-focused video discussion series. Brent, where you and I hop on here. We talk any and everything in the world of Destiny. We have a damn fine time doing it. We are, of course, here on behalf of Short Pause. www.shortpause.com is the website. Make sure you subscribe to us here on YouTube, on the Short Pause page. Hit the little bell so you always know when we go live. We do Tower Talk usually every Thursday, unless things happen, which we'll talk about in a second. Lots of things happening on this side of the microphone. Brent, what's going on with you, man?
Man, a lot of things have happening indeed, and getting sick is one of them. This week I've been pretty much sidelined in bed by 8 o'clock every night, trying to shake off whatever Mother Nature has decided to lay upon me now with this weather. So now I'm sick. I blame my kids and their friends at school. I'm sure all the kids are sick. Send them home with their kids. They get me sick. So
It's usually how it works.
We'll blame the kids, but I've been rocking a Z-Pack and then turning over to NyQuil to end the day for the last couple of nights. So have not been able to hop in to try anything out this week. But, no, we did get to play a lot of Gambit Prime last week and over the course of the weekend, and we'll have a lot to talk about in that regard. Fear the Beard's in the chat. What's going on, buddy?
Beard. What's up, dude? Yeah, so first and foremost, apologies for us not having a show last week. We were planning to have a show, but we hadn't played enough of Season of the Drifter yet. So, Brent, you and I tried to play some more of it and maybe do a show later in the week, or even do kind of a discussion about the game as we played it on Thursday. That didn't happen. We didn't get to do the show. So we're almost 2 weeks or a week and a half into Season of the Drifter now. We haven't talked about anything that's going on in the game right now. So our apologies for that, but we're back tonight. Wanted to get our smiling mugs in front of you guys and start to talk about any and everything that's going on in Destiny right now, because there's a lot of stuff happening. So last Tuesday, Season of the Drifter went live, and with that, Gambit Prime and the Reckoning and all the new Gambit armor and all the new weapons and gear that's in the game. All this is going on right now. And then this week, a ton of stuff happening in the game. So Tier 2 of the Reckoning is available now. The Thorn Quest is available now. The Allegiance Quest is available now. These are big-time story-based things that are happening in the Destiny universe. Tomorrow, Tier 3 of the Reckoning goes live. Invitations of the Nine goes live with our friend Zur when he shows up on the scene, which will finally give us a look into what the Nine is all about, which is something we've been wondering about for almost 5 years now. So lots and lots of really exciting stuff going on in Destiny, and we're going to talk about all that stuff tonight. But first and foremost, we want to get into what we have played with Season of the Drifter so far with Joker's Wild, and talk about our impressions of Destiny as we sit here in this season. So just to preface this, like Brent mentioned, he's been under the weather all week, hasn't played the game at all. My job's been kicking my ass for the last 2 weeks. I have played very little of this game, and I'm extremely irritated about it. Going to try to remedy that this weekend in a big way. There's lots of stuff that I want to get to this weekend in this game, so hopefully I can make that happen. So we are not at the point where we want to be in the game right now, but that's not to say we haven't played a lot of this, because we have. So everything's relative with Destiny. So we're like, I haven't really put a lot of time into Destiny. I mean, we're really talking about dozens of hours here in the game. Whereas, another game that might have been enough to, complete that game and move on to something else. But with Destiny, this is a drop in the bucket. So relatively speaking, we haven't played nearly as much as we want to play Destiny, but we have played a good chunk of it. So I want to start there, Brent. I want to start to get our thoughts out here about what's going on with Season of the Drifter. And first and foremost, the big headline activity of the season is, of course, Gambit Prime. So this is the new and improved competitive, so to speak, version of Gambit, the sweaty version of Gambit, where you and another team go in there, 4v4, and it's one round. So one round, first to 100 motes gets their primeval on the field, and the enemies are a lot stronger. The primevals are a lot stronger. They've got different mechanics. You can steal motes from the other team. Got these different roles going on. Everything we talked about in the Vidoc is on the scene now with Gambit Prime. So Brent, I want to start with you, man. Lay it all on the table for me. Where are we at with Gambit Prime? What's your thoughts week and a half into Season of the Drifter?
We played quite a bit of Gambit Prime, and I got to say, I really, really like it. I like Gambit Prime a lot, but I think the thing that I enjoy most about Gambit Prime is something that we haven't quite fleshed out as much yet, and that's with the roles and the classes. Obviously, we have the base tier, the illicit sets for the classes that we're working on. You know, I've got the full Invader set. I believe you're focusing on Sentry.
Yeah, the full Sentry set.
You got the full Sentry set, and so now we're at the ground level. You know, we have to get to the tier 2, which I believe is called Notorious.
Tier 2 is Notorious is the final tier.
That's the final set.
What is tier 2?
That's a good question. Maybe one of the guys in chat, Jacob's in the chat.
I feel like it starts with an M. Yeah, Jacob probably knows.
Jacob probably knows, but yeah, I mean, we're not going to see
middling. Is that it? Middling.
Middling. Yeah, I think it is middling or something to that effect.
Yeah, so we're trying to get to the middling tier.
But you know, we're not going to start seeing the perks of this until we get our gear up. You know, obviously, there's people out there who've probably already got the full set of middling gear, and you know, that's where you're going to start to see the perks of each class really come into play more. Early on, you know, you get the first step we got is the overcharged shield, or the second step is overcharged shield for invaders. And you know, my biggest issue was when we were playing Gambit Prime is like, okay, I got this overcharged shield, be able to go in there to sustain a little bit more damage while I do more damage. And I'm getting one shot by snipers across the map. I'm just like, damn, dude, where's the overcharge at? But you know, at first glance, I was like, man, that kind of sucks. You know, I'm getting dropped. But look, to get a precision shot on a guy who's jumping all over the place, moving quickly, I got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, that's a hell of a shot to pull off. There are a couple of them, I was in mid-flight, and for them to pull off a full headshot is pretty nice. So I would like to see overcharged shield actually be overcharged, or maybe you can take a single sniper shot, a critical sniper shot, but overall, though, I mean, I really do like these classes, and I'm interested to see how much more each class is going to become integral to your team's success as we move on to the second tier and the third tier.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And as far as the just to piggyback on the shield thing really quick, I do like sniper headshots still dropping you. I think that's a skilled shot that should be rewarded for its precision. Body shots are another thing, though. So as long as you're not getting dropped by sniper body shots, I think we're good. But I do think the headshot should still drop you. It's just it's a tough shot to pull out, like you said, especially when you're jumping around.
It took me a while after playing. I was like, hey man, that's a hell of a shot. If you can get a crit shot on somebody who's either in flight or flying through the air or dodging or whatnot, if you can pull off a headshot, then kudos to you. You've earned it.
Yeah. Yeah, so like you mentioned, one of the really cool things with Gambit is this new armor system, and we're still trying to suss out the whole system and figure out exactly what we can do and what we're capable of in this system. But we started to learn a little bit more about how this works now. So you're getting these synths, you're taking them into the Reckoning, you're wagering your synths that you convert into motes with this device that the Drifter gives you. Once you complete a round of Reckoning, you then basically turn in your mote to claim your loot, and then that's a piece of Gambit armor, and you're kind of building this up. And all of these pieces of armor have different values. So the base level, or the green sets, so to speak, those are all +1 to your chosen role. Once you get to the middling tier, which you need to unlock with tier 2 of the Reckoning, those all have a +2 value to your armor. Whereas you get up to the tier 3 of the Reckoning, which isn't even out yet, and then you start to unlock those +3 bonuses. And basically these numbers stack, and by the time you put whatever armor you're gonna put on, you get the perks equivalent to the value of the armor that you have on your Guardian. So if I was wearing all tier 2 armor on my Sentry, I would be at +10, which would give me access to, I think, a couple of the perks on there, maybe even 3. I'm not sure the exact values on that. But you can't get up to that final level, to that tier 3 level, where you get that level 15 bonus, where you have all the perks unlocked, including the Pinnacle perk, which for something like the Invader is you lock down the enemy's bank and you become a blocker, so to speak.
And if you get close, you start to loot their motes, which is pretty
siphon their motes out of their bank. So we're talking extremely deadly perks once you get to the top of these perk trees, perks that fundamentally change the game. And that's what Bungie was getting at with Gambit Prime. Like the Gambit Prime you play on day 1 is going to look pretty similar to the Gambit we know and love, but once we get a couple weeks down the line, this thing's going to change and evolve as people start to earn these armors and earn these sets and come up with different strategies and build their teams out the way that they see fit. This thing's going to be completely different. It's going to get to the point where if you don't have a strategy and you're not playing with a team, you're probably going to get your ass handed to you. So it behooves us to get this armor, get a squad together, and really start to hone our strategies, because this thing's going to get nasty real fast in Gambit Prime. And so just with that, Brent, what do you think about how the mechanics work with Gambit Prime and the armor sets? Are you a fan of the way that they're doing this?
Oh yeah, I mean, the armor sets is awesome. I think that's something that we've all been asking for, these unique armor sets that unlock different perks with the more that you wear. I think that is really, really cool. That adds a deep RPG element that a lot of fans have been clamoring for and to have in Destiny. And, and one thing I wanted to, I was thinking about too is, I'm sitting there playing it with you the other night, and, I've got the entire Invader set. And early on, we saw one of my teammates that we were playing with randoms, had none of the gear, but he's hopping through invading. And at first I was like, dude, let me go in. I'm wearing this. But we're early on where everyone's still trying to get their sets. So, be mindful of that. If you see somebody jumping in to invade and they don't have any Invader gear and you're decked out, keep in mind they're trying to get that same stuff. So, I mean, I know we're all hyped. I'm hyped every time I get the Invader set. I'm like, okay, man, I'm going to go over here and wreck stuff. But if you're playing with people who don't have any of the gear and maybe they're locking it down, they're collecting a bunch of stuff, they're trying to get the same sets that we all have. Like I said, we won't see the real impact of all these sets for another week or two. And then that's, like you said, once everyone starts getting there with the squad and you can identify, look, he's got the Invader set, I'm not going to bother. That's his job. That's what he's going to do. That's his role. And I think that is where, even if you're playing with randoms, there'll be a strategy based on who's wearing what.
Yeah.
I know who the Collector is going to be. I know who the Reaper is going to be. I know who the Sentry is going to be. So I really, really do enjoy the armor sets. I think that's a fantastic addition. In terms of the mechanics of Gambit, it took people a little bit of a while to figure out, hey, kill the envoys in order to drop the ship. I mean, you and I were playing one match, and the envoys had just come out, and this dude just pops his hammer and starts just pounding on the Primeval. We're like, bro, he's got a shield, homie.
Don't you see that immune thing?
Yeah, he's sitting there
just.
I'm just like, okay, all right. It's gonna take a little bit for people to figure this stuff out. So, some learning curve bumps for the people that are playing solo. But like I said, this is what's going to set Gambit Prime apart from Gambit, much how competitive sets itself apart from quick play. It's going to, yes, you can jump in there and play solo, but you're really going to want to work and communicate and call things out together. I mean, there are strategies that people are discovering that work best for Gambit Prime, and they're very effective. And I love it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's an intense mode, but it's very rewarding if you work as a squad. Perfect Wolf is in the chat. What's up, Wolf? He said the armor sets could set a precedent of how they could use this for other missions, like strike-specific armor with perks, raid armor with perks, and so on. Yes, absolutely. I agree with that 100%, and I think that's something we all want this to kind of lead to. This is just the stepping point, the stepping stone, the very first step to getting us more armor sets tied to specific activities that have different perks with the more that you're equipped. I think that's exactly where we're heading with this.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Wolf, because that was actually the very next thing I was going to talk about was the fact that I, too, can see these Gambit armor pieces being a precursor of things to come. So I think clearly the community likes this idea. The community's behind it. There's been a lot of positive feedback about the Gambit Prime armor sets and how they, like you said, it gives that really nuanced RPG feel to this game in a way that that armor hasn't done so before. So a lot of times in RPGs, like you go in that ice cave and you're putting on your fire armor so you can battle all the ice enemies, and a lot of the armor that you use in these games is very situational, and we're seeing that in Destiny for the first time with the Gambit Prime armor tailored specifically to this activity, and you build your Guardian the way you want to in that activity. Just like the Redrix's broadsword and the Luna's Howl and the Not Forgotten, just like these were the building blocks and the precursors to us getting pinnacle weapons in other activities throughout the game after they saw the positive feedback on these. It's very easy to see a world in which the next update or the update after that, we start to see, like you said, armor sets for strikes. we've seen raid armor sets in the past with perks that are specifically tailored to raids. So that's something I can definitely see them doing more of. Maybe something even deeper, like the Gambit Prime sets that we're seeing, or getting Crucible armor sets. Like there's a ton of different directions they could go from this, and I don't think there's any question that this mechanic gets brought into some of the other modes at some point. I think that would be a lot of fun.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think this is getting into those RPG elements a little bit more that I feel like a lot of Destiny fans feel like Destiny has been missing. We have cool armor, we just don't have any unique sets, and now we do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so and I'm with you, man. I think Gambit Prime is a lot of fun. It's very intense. The matches are a good length. They're not super fast. Like I think typically the ones I've been in the 10, 12, 15 minute range.
That's what I'm at.
Depending on how the primeval battle plays out. And those primeval battles, there's a lot of ebb and flow with those. So you got those envoys get on the field, and you got to take them out, and that drops the shield on the primeval, which you can then attack. But while all this is going on, you're dealing with invaders on the other team. The other team's still sending over blockers. So you're trying to figure out, all right, which envoy am I going to kill? And the invaders are killing you, and they're healing the primeval, and you can only attack the primeval during the damage phase. So there's a lot going on during the primeval battle, and that can sway a match. We played a match, Brent, where we were getting our ass handed to us. Just to be frank, the other team had their primeval out, and then we were just like, all right, we need to buckle down and pull our bootstraps up here and get to work. So we went to work, started efficiently taking out our enemies, consistently invading the other team, taking them out, bringing their primeval life bar up, and when we got into it, man, we started cracking our supers down. We're throwing Nova bombs and Chaos Reach, and there's a lot of stuff going on. We won the match, so the tide can turn, and it's gonna be even more so once these armor sets come into play.
Oh, yeah.
So you can imagine in that match when you're somebody that has a full invader set at that point, and all the perks that you have available to you when you're trying to make a comeback, like that stuff's gonna be important. Also, like too, how they really there's a lot of player agency in Gambit Prime and with these armor sets. You want to be an invader? Cool. You want to be a collector? Cool. Like you can focus your efforts on these, but you can also mix and match this stuff too. So if you want to take a little bit from this and a little bit from that, you won't unlock the pinnacle tier of perk on any of the sets, but maybe for your play style, it works to have a little bit of Reaper and a little bit of Collector and just go to work, and you can help your team that way. So, I have no doubt that we're going to see squads that mix and match armor. We're going to see squads that just play it right down the line. Everybody's got their role. We're going to see squads that are just all invaders. And they're all tier 4 invaders, and we're all crapping our pants like, oh man, this is going to suck. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all these strategies play out and what the meta evolves in these strategies. I'm really interested to see all this, Brent. Like what the best strategy, what the community deems the best strategy, and then who goes out and changes that narrative and comes up with a new, better strategy. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff around this, and that's why it's important for us to get in on the ground floor now, to get our armor and to be a part of this, because we don't want to be left in the dust here. Because we're coming up on it soon here. Tier 3 of the Reckoning goes live tomorrow. People are going to be getting these armor sets, and they're going to be ready to go rip, ready, and roaring. And so we gotta keep up on that. So, but yeah, just like you said, it's the perfect analogy is from quick play to competitive. It's exactly what's going on with Gambit and Gambit Prime here. Gambit Prime is just Gambit on a whole nother level, and it's going to be really fun to see how this kind of plays out. But yeah, early on, it's a really good mode. Can't wait to play more of. So the other part of Gambit Prime, or the other part of Season of the Drifter, the other big activity is the Reckoning. So, and this is part of a loop that you're going to be in with Gambit Prime. And we've mentioned the Reckoning in the different tiers several times now. But the Reckoning is one of these classic Destiny horde mode type of activities where you go into a space. It's kind of like a public event space, but you're just swarmed by taken enemies in the realm of the 9 in the Drifter ship. So you go in here and you got different modifiers that you're combating. And mind you, we've only done tier 1 at this point. We're not strong enough to do tier 2. We're certainly not going to be strong enough to do tier 3 tomorrow. Tier 3 is a level 690 activity. You've got to be at least 680 to even get into it. So this is a big time end game activity here that's coming out tomorrow. But Yeah, it's these modes are just fun, man. Think the blind well, think the escalation protocol, think prison of the elders, think all of these different horde type of modes, the forges that have come into Destiny over the years, and you'll have an idea of what to expect with the reckoning, with the nice little twist being that this takes place with the nine, deals with the nine, focuses on the taking. There's some different mechanics with the bosses and the enemies, and you have a timer that's taken down that you've got to contend with, and all this kind of stuff going on. So, Brent, talk to me about the Reckoning first. What's your thoughts on this activity being the new PvE activity in the game?
Oh, man, the first night I hopped into the Reckoning. I was playing it, and they had the rotating
Modifiers.
element modifiers, yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, cool. It changes up throughout the match. It was going from void to arc to solar, and just constantly changing. And I was going through, I was pounding through pretty quick. Oh, yeah, this isn't too bad. It's not too bad. I mean, I had the entire set just about by the end of the night. And so the next night I hop into it, and they had set modifiers now. Now it was just void damage. And, dude, it was really, really difficult that next night. When it was straight void damage, the Taken Hobgoblins became the absolute bane of my existence. I mean, they were the absolute worst. I mean, they were one-shotting people left and right, and you're just like, whoa, what happened to last night? So, yes, the Hobgoblin snipers. Jacob just said the worst thing about the Reckoning is Hobgoblin snipers. By far, the most annoying enemy in this event are the Hobgoblin snipers. They are brutal. Brutal. Void Singe and Glass is the worst combo. Yeah, it was incredibly difficult, but it's a fun mode to play when you're playing with friends. Again, communication is key here. You want to stick together as a group, because the more you wander off apart, you're just taking damage from all sides. You want to really stay close as a crew, wipe out hordes of enemies at a time. Get over to where they're spawning, launch your supers, launch your grenades into as much area as effect damage as you can. So it's a real cool mode. I love the synergy between that and Gambit Prime. You have to constantly go back and forth. They're both very challenging. Obviously, Gambit Prime is still the pinnacle event, in my opinion. I think it's just the all-around most fun experience. But Reckoning is a nice challenge in there to go in there and earn your armor sets.
Yeah. And Tier 1 is definitely manageable. I mean, we've beaten Tier 1 numerous times, so it's not too much of an issue. But as we get up into these tiers, I haven't even attempted Tier 2, and I can't even imagine what Tier 3 is at this point. But I'm really expecting these to be very difficult activities, because Bungie said as much. Tier 1 is not terribly difficult, so I do anticipate that these next couple tiers. I think you've experienced Tier 2 a little bit. I haven't even stepped foot in there yet, so. I know that these are going to get more and more challenging, and I'm looking forward to that, because I really do like these challenging horde modes that they put into the game. And like you said, there's a whole new bucket of strategy that comes into play with the Reckoning. You've got to stick together as a team, because once you die, you're on a pretty lengthy timer. You're on like a 15-20 second respawn timer. If you're not in the vicinity of your teammates and not getting revived, you have to respawn back out of the playing field and jump back in. So there's a lot of lost time there, and one of the mechanics in the Reckoning is you have to constantly kill enemies. You have a percentage that's going up as you kill these enemies rapidly, and anytime you stop killing enemies, that percentage starts to go down. So you constantly have to be killing these enemies. You got to be taking out the big yellow barred enemies when they come on the field, because that really juices up your score. So there's a lot to take into account. There's a lot of strategy with your loadouts as well. Like, I really like taking the Skull of Dire Ahamkara in there with a Voidwalker Nova Bomb, because the minute I throw a Nova Bomb into a group of Taken, I have a Nova Bomb ready to go again immediately, which is a lot of fun. So if you use your helmet right in there, you could just constantly hurl Nova Bombs. One boss we fought, I must have hurled like 3 or 4 Nova Bombs at him in a row. So it's just cool to be able to do that. And so that there's some really fun builds you can make in that mode, because it's just all about slaying out, man. You just go in there and just slay enemies. And if you build your loadout correctly, you just have a whale of a time in there. I really like the Reckoning.
Yeah, the guys in the chat are talking about like what weapons they figure would work well, and Jacob mentions the Telesto. You were rocking the Telesto. And they're doing some heavy damage
in there.
I was rolling with the Claws of the Wolves. That was doing some nice damage, especially with Kill Clip and Outlaw. And then Hammerhead, obviously,
Hammerhead,
with the boss spec on it, worked really, really well in there as well. So, and then I broke out the Orpheus rigs, and I was using my Shadow Shot for that. So it was working really well. We did pretty well in there. So once we switched up for void damage, we could hang in there for much longer. But it's a super fun mode, and I just love its relation with Gambit Prime. Forces you to go back and forth, gets you something different every time.
Yeah. So how that relationship works? So basically, you go into Gambit Prime, you earn these synths.
Yep.
You take those synths, put them into your synthesizer that you get from the drifter, and that converts it into a mote. You then take the mote into the Reckoning. You deposit it in the bank before you try the activity, and then that's kind of your buy-in to the activity. You go and you play the Reckoning. If you're successful, you cash that mote in for a piece of armor. You then go back into Gambit Prime. You now have a piece of armor that you can use in Gambit Prime, but now you're back hunting for more synths, and then you kind of rinse and repeat that cycle as we go through it. And obviously that's gonna just escalate further once we get into tier 2 of the Reckoning and tier 3 of the Reckoning, when that challenge escalates and the prizes get that much greater. So yeah, so I'm looking forward. I'm enjoying this loop. I like that it breaks up the activities and it lets you experience the different activities as kind of this loop that I think is really fun. So yeah, so I do like the relationship between them early on.
Those synths are going to become a little bit more valuable too as you're ranking up your armor to get that next bump up. Because I mean, you can use those synths each match for +3.
Yeah.
So if you're ranking up a little bit and you're almost like that 4th perk, and you're like, man, do I want to save this synth to try to get the next piece of armor, or do I use it here so I can get that 4th perk unlocked for the next 30 minutes? Mm-hmm. So those things are going to start becoming more valuable as we push ahead further as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that just goes back to the strategy with Gambit, and that gets you thinking as well. Okay, well, do I need to focus on this full set of armor with this class, or do I get 4 pieces of armor for this class, grab 1 from the other class, get this ability, and then use my synth to jack up my status with the other armor? So I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities with synths and with the armor combinations that I'm really looking forward to reading and watching videos on and seeing what people do with over the next few weeks. So that's going to be exciting to check out. So those are the main activities in Season of the Drifter currently, and there's some big stuff happening this week, which we'll jump into momentarily here. But what else stands out to you about the season so far, Brent? Like, what kind of gear have you been getting? Any new guns or any new perks you see that stand out to you yet?
Yeah, some of the guns are the Last Man Standing shotgun's really nice. I really enjoyed using that.
That's the Gambit Prime shotgun, right?
Yep, Gambit Prime shotgun. I've also got the submachine gun I can't remember the name of it. Escapes me.
The bug out machine.
Bug out machine, yep, I've gotten that as well. But nothing else, like no other real weapons, which is weird because I heard most of those weapons are dropping in Gambit Prime, and it's been kind of stingy for me lately. But like I said, hopefully we get in there this week. We can grind it out this weekend, and we'll be good.
Yeah, I've been seeing some really cool stuff from like the Spare Rations hand cannon, and
yes,
there's new. I don't know if you call them pinnacle weapons, but all of the vendors have refreshed their weapons. So like Zavala has a nicely rolled service revolver that's come back to year 2. That's available for you now. Shax has a what is he at? Oh, the Last Perdition is back in year 2, which is a sweet pulse rifle. Absolutely loved that pulse rifle in year 1 in Destiny 2. Excited that one's back. He's got a sweet roll with rangefinder and rampage on it. That's available once you max out your Valor rank in the Crucible. So there's some cool weapons that are available to you that I haven't got my hands on yet. But yeah, I've been seeing some good things with a lot of the weapons. I don't have any of the new armor, any of the new exotics yet. That exotic fusion rifle, that's a kinetic weapon. That thing, the Arbalest.
Yeah, it's a kinetic weapon, but it does damage to all energy shields or something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds gross.
Yeah, so that thing sounds just awesome. I think it enhances the damage of your kinetic weapon or your energy weapon or something like that. It does some disgusting stuff. So really want to see what that one's all about. But yeah, there's lots of cool new gear in the game that we've yet to get our hands on yet. So lots of exciting stuff. Anything else you've been doing in the game so far since Season of the Drifter came out?
Man, my focus has been mainly Gambit Prime, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. So which brings us into what's going on this week in the game. So obviously, um, the headline activity, I guess you could say, is Thorn. Thorn is
Yeah.
back in the world of Destiny 2, and from everything I've seen, Brent, this thing looks. Whew. I mean, we're back to like some old year one Destiny 1 feelings with the Thorn here. You can potentially 2-tap enemies if you do it the right way. You've got obviously the damage over time. Thorn, just a nasty hand cannon once again in the Crucible. I of course don't have it. You don't have it yet. We haven't gone through the quest yet. Many people do have it. Many people putting videos out. Many people very excited about it. The pinnacle weapons just in general have been really that recluse SMG. My gosh, have you watched anybody use that thing?
No, is it gross?
Yeah, we're talking 60 plus kills in Crucible matches. Just a filthy weapon, an absolutely filthy weapon. So those of you that are voyaging through the competitive playlist, getting your hands on that one, my hat's off to you because that thing looks like a sweet gun.
Jacob's already got Thorn and Recluse. He says those are his combo right now. Jacob's the guy that everyone hates.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, so let's talk about Thorn and whatnot a little bit. So Thorn, available in the game right now. There's a quest that you can get started on the EDZ to go and obtain it. We weren't sure if this was going to be a weekly quest or how this was going to work out, but once you get it, you can kind of finish it off at your own pace. And along with that, Brent, we've got some sweet new rewards. So you've got a pretty killer Thorn T-shirt and Thorn replica that you're going to be able to get your hands on in terms of Bungie rewards. There's also a pretty sick Gambit jersey that you're going to have access to with these new Bungie rewards. Really like those Gambit Prime jerseys. Like you said, it may not be tailored to our particular physique, but we can hope and dream, right?
Yeah, there's no way my fat ass is gonna fit into that thing. I can order the largest size, and I can just tell that thing is snug, and it is not meant for somebody of my physique. Just not gonna work.
Yeah, you don't have that soccer bod, man. It seems like
nah, man.
No?
That thing will be in a frame, and I'll just have somebody sign it and just make it look like some pro jersey.
Yeah, but those jerseys look really slick. So there's some new Bungie rewards available to those of you that make your way through the pinnacle activities in the game right now. But yeah, Thorn, man, it's available right now. We got to get in there and get that thing so we can see what all the hoopla is all about. But it looks pretty exciting.
Yeah, I have some serious catching up to do this weekend. I'm hoping to start Saturday night, set aside about 4 or 5 hours, and just start grinding. I got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely, yeah. Just on that note too, if you haven't been paying attention, a hot fix for the game went out on Tuesday this week with the update and fixed some pretty important stuff. Mm-hmm. So the weekly bounties were resetting on Sunday instead of Tuesday. That's been fixed. The Triumph that rewards Oxygen SR3, which is the pinnacle strike weapon in this season of Gambit, that wasn't working right. That's been fixed. The quests for Malfeasance and Breakneck weren't progressing. Yeah. I experienced that one firsthand. Was trying to finish up Malfeasance, wasn't able to do that because it wasn't working right. That's been fixed. Lots of things that have been going on with Gambit have been fixed with the bounties and different things that were in there. The Kel's Grave and Cathedral Scars maps, those were out of commission because they weren't working right. Those have been fixed. Those are back in the game. This is one you'll enjoy. The Taken Hobgoblin Primeval from Gambit Prime has been removed to prevent an issue where early despawning would cause matches to not end correctly. So,
yes,
that's at least one of those guys. That guy's a pain in the ass.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, but lots of good stuff. The weekly Gambit Prime bounties have been fixed. The Umbral Strike perk on the Sentry set was not working properly for the taking damage. So lots of good fixes in there. And one other thing too, just to put on your radar, we were talking about this before the show, Brent, but they are actively investigating the issue with the powerful rewards dropping lower than expected. So
that's the most annoying. That's the most annoying thing.
So here's the two issues that we're looking at right now. So one, there's been reports of powerful sources granting +0 rewards. So basically, you get in a power drop, and it's the exact same level you're at.
Yep.
Current investigations point toward this being from daily bounties being carried over from last season and being used to progress weekly bounties. We will continue looking into this issue in case there are other examples of +0 drops. Now, I personally haven't experienced the +0 drop. I don't know if you have, but it sounds like this is an issue related to bounties coming season over season, which I'm pretty sure Bungie talked about for weeks, that to not do that, but whatever. So that's why it's causing issues for people. But this is the one that I've experienced. I know you've experienced this. Director challenges are dropping lower power drops than expected. We expected players to hit the minimum reward power bumps at around 690 power, but they've been hitting it at 650 instead, which is what we've been running into. So if you remember, Brent, some time back when they were reevaluating how they wanted your Guardian to progress in Destiny, they changed it so that the last 10 power levels that you would achieve up to max power level would be about the same amount of time it took to get from 650 to 690, so to speak. So 650 to 690 should take the same amount of time it takes you to get from 690 to 700. So that was a change they implemented some months back. So what we're looking at in the game right now is once we hit 650, we're already at the 690 grind.
No.
We have a fix ready for this issue, and we're hoping to ship this hot fix 2.2.0.2 sometime after we ship next week's update. So this one is imminent. Possibly next Tuesday, we'll have this out in the field, and then our power drops should be working correctly again. So just wanted to put that on everybody's radar. Don't worry, the fix is coming. Hang in there.
Thank God.
Us first and foremost. All right, so with that PSA out of the way, let's get to the Allegiance quest now, Brent. So we know we got Thorn to get to this week.
Nope.
You've also got this Allegiance business to deal with. Now, the game tells you right in there, from my understanding, that choose wisely because this will have permanent, lasting narrative implications on your character and what happens moving forward. So this could potentially be a big issue. The first time ever in Destiny we've seen something like this in the game where we're making a decision that could affect the narrative one way or another. Now, if you have two Guardians at your disposal, you can experience both sides of this story and get all the different lore that's associated with the Drifter and with the Vanguard. But essentially what we're looking at with the Allegiance quest is we've got to make a choice. Are we siding with the Vanguard, the team we've been working with for the last 4 or 5 years to protect the last city on Earth, or are we siding with this new shifty Drifter cat who's just kind of shown up on the scene over the last couple of months with this shiny new object in Gambit? He's getting all the Guardians excited about it. He's a slick-talking fella, and he's got a lot of people in his corner now. Do we side with him, or do we side with what's left of the Vanguard, which is Ikora and Zavala? That's what we're looking at this point. So here's what Bungie has to say. And this might sway your decision one way or another if you haven't made that decision yet, which we haven't, Brent. This is something we have to think about. Do you side with the Vanguard or the Drifter? Depending on your choice, you'll receive a set of rewards specific to your allegiance. Through the Allegiance quest, each side will offer unique lore. Each week you'll receive a small package as gratitude for your pledge. Throughout Season of the Drifter, depending on your pledge, one of these packages will be found at Ikora or Drifter upon each weekly reset. Just a side note on this real quick. The lore for Season of the Drifter has been incredible.
Yes. Absolutely
incredible. There's some really big-time things that are going on in the story of Destiny right now, and they're being told through the different lore and the different stories that are playing out over the course of Season of the Drifter. If you have not turned in any Vanguard tokens or participated in strikes yet this season, please do yourself a favor. Go get Vanguard tokens, turn them in, and start to read through the Stolen Intelligence lore book. That is such a cool lore book. It goes into some really, really deep things. There's entries on the current state of the Fallen, what's going on with Varix, what's going on with the Vanguard, some very interesting things there, what's going on with Cade's vacated Hunter position. But there's just a lot of really cool stuff in Stolen Intelligence. I highly encourage you to read that. I hope you're reading the messages from Onan that are being delivered every week. There's this whole thing going on with the Praxic Order and what the Drifter's doing behind the scenes, and not to mention all the lore that we're going to get with the 9 and everything that's coming with the Allegiance quest. So they're absolutely knocking it out of the park with the lore in Season of the Drifter right now. It's the most exciting, the most excited I've been about the lore for a release in a while. So it's really good stuff. So definitely read that if you haven't. All right, but these are rewards. So the Vanguard weekly package will be as follows: powerful Vanguard gear, Boon of the Vanguard, which, if I'm not mistaken, that's what gives you extra tokens in the strikes. Is that what that does? 10 Vanguard Tactician tokens, and the ever-elusive enhancement core
Oh,
will be a part of this package. Now, if you side with the Drifter, your weekly package will read as follows: a powerful piece of Gambit gear, a Collector synth, an Invader synth, a Sentry synth, a Reaper synth, and 100 shiny infamy points towards your Gambit rank. If you're the type of player who wants it all, or you're an all-out lore collector, you can make a different pledge on alternate characters, like we mentioned. Just remember, your choice will last. You can either slide with a slick-talking Drifter, or be like me, this is the guy writing the Bungie post, and side with those who protect the last safe city and its people. So, Brent, we've got to talk about this. So, you and I have to step foot into Destiny this week, and we've got to make a decision. Do we side with the Vanguard, or do we side with the Drifter? I'm going to give you my thoughts on it first. So,
please.
This has been a decision that I've been waffling on, because on the one hand, the Drifter is an incredible character. There's so much to this dude. There's so much going on behind the scenes. There's so much going on with him and the Nine and just everything that this guy's all about. Clearly, what we're seeing on the surface here is not all there is to know about the Drifter. There is much. This rabbit hole goes much deeper than I think we could have ever anticipated. He's also just a really awesome character. I mean, his voice work is superb. He's got a magnetic personality. He's really stepped in and unexpectedly filled the shoes of somebody like Cade 6, who was kind of the magnetic personality in this game up to this point. The Drifter has just come on the scene and be like, look, I'm going to fill those shoes. Now you guys are going to gravitate towards me. So the Drifter, an incredible character with an incredible story that's being told right before our very eyes. So there's that, and obviously Gambit Prime is awesome. It's a lot of fun, and to get things that could help me in there is incredibly appealing. On the other hand, you got the Vanguard, dude. It's the Vanguard, the team we've been working with since day one, since we stepped foot and put an end to the Black Garden and the Vex. In Destiny 1, we've been working with Cade and Ikora and Zavala, and it's hard to just turn your back on those people after 5 years. And here's the other thing. So these weekly packages make it interesting. Now, in my opinion, it's pretty easy to get synths. You do the bounties, you do the challenges, whatever. You just play Gambit Prime in general. You're gonna bank quite a few synths. Now, on the other side of the token, yeah, sure, doing strikes isn't terribly difficult. You can go in there and do that stuff, but to have easy access to a powerful piece of Vanguard gear, 10 tokens, and an enhancement core. When I already know I'm going to be playing a lot of Gambit Prime, that's incredibly enticing to have that weekly package waiting there for me. And I can just pick that up while I'm doing all this other Gambit Prime stuff throughout Season of the Drifter. So just looking at the packages and everything that's going on right now, Brent, my allegiance, until I pull the trigger, lies with the Vanguard. What say you?
Man, I really like the Drifter, bro. I like really like the Drifter. And it was odd you mentioned the lore. I mean, was it Ana? Is that what the name?
Yeah, Honor.
Those particular pieces I thought were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely loved reading those. She's like, don't the Drifter. He's from darkness. He's just this bad person. Like, it's just screaming. It's a trap.
Yeah.
And I can't help it, dude. I'm siding with the Drifter. I'm siding with the Drifter. I mean, I love Gambit Prime, and you know what I think is great about it is, like, everyone loves Gambit Prime. Gambit Prime is incredibly fun. It's incredibly appealing. And in the lore, it's basically saying he's tricking you in with Gambit Prime. Mm-hmm. People are running around the tower with this title of Dredgen. Like, it's a good thing, and it's hilarious because people are running around the tower with the title of Dredgen. So I think that's really cool how they brought that into the fray. But it's just, I'm sucked into Gambit Prime. So clearly I'm into what the Drifter is into. So I'm siding with the Drifter. Mm-hmm. And we see all these synths. I mean, yeah, Invader synths, we can get that, but it's tough to get an Invader synth. I'll sit there and go through a match. I'll get 25, 30 kills. I'm not getting the Invader synth unless I wipe out the whole team. Mm-hmm. So if I can keep getting those synths every week with these packages, along with the ones I earn in match, I'm going to be able to get that powerful, that level 3 gear quicker because I'll have all the synths I need to make the modes.
You have a guaranteed synth from each group every single week.
So I'm going to be banking on these synths. So when I go into Reckoning, I can make a day. Hey, look, I'm going to go in there and get all the gear right now because I have all these synths. The 100 infamy points, going to be very crucial to resetting my rank so I can get the Delirium.
Yep.
And then powerful Gambit gear. There is a lot of good-looking Gambit weapons out there now. There's some good-looking weapons.
Oh, yeah.
To get a powerful version of that? Sorry, man. The Drifter sounds more appealing. Yes, enhancement cores are always appealing. I mean, they always are. But there's a lot of ways to earn enhancement cores now.
Yeah.
Go over to Spider. Pick up a bunch of his bounties. Boom. You get those.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with the Drifter, dude. And the thing is, like, this is crucial for me because I'm not one of these people that has a lot of time to build up 3 characters.
I only got one.
Yeah, when I log in, dude, I'm going with my Hunter, and that's what I'm going to work with for the night. I'm not working on my Titan. I'm not working on a Warlock. I'm just working on my Hunter. So I have one choice here. And I'm going to be looking to you for the lore to get your thoughts on the lore from the Vanguard side. I'm going with the Drifter, dude. I'm picking Drifter tomorrow night. I'm going with the Drifter.
Yeah, it's such a tough decision, man. And I feel like I was still kind of 50-50 going into the TWAB this week, but finding out that there's different packages. And I just feel like deep down, I'm going to be playing so much Gambit and Gambit Prime with Season of the Drifter that I'm going to want the powerful Vanguard gear and the enhancement cores and the Vanguard tokens. I'm going to want that stuff to be available for me in some easy form because I'm going to be playing so much of this other stuff. So I might not get to strikes every week. I might not be able to get those tokens I need to keep getting these stolen intelligence entries in the lore. So being able to have that available every single week, to have a Vanguard package available for me, when I know I'm going to be playing a lot of Gambit and getting a lot of the stuff that's in this weekly package, that's kind of pushing me over the edge there to go Vanguard.
And based on everything I just said, I said a lot of cool stuff there about the Drifter. But the main reason I'm going Drifter is because you're not. And I'm hoping at some point you and I are going to have to square off 1v1 to settle something between the two sides. Brothers separated, dude. Drifter versus Vanguard. It's going to be hot.
It's interesting too, Brent, because and we've been talking about this over the weeks, but one of the rumors that we read about Destiny 3 some time back, this is a unsubstantiated rumor, of course. One of the rumors was that they were trying to lean into more RPG elements for Destiny 3. That was the talk, right? They're going to lean more heavily into the RPG elements of Destiny 3. And one of those RPG elements was the ability to choose which version of which side of the coin you were gonna side with. Were you gonna play with the darkness and the powers inherent in that, or were you gonna play with the light, with the Vanguard and everything we've come to know and love with the Traveler over the years? One of the things they've been subtly building in the background, especially once Forsaken hit the scene, is this idea that maybe the Guardians aren't the good guys. Like maybe what we've been building to over these years is not exactly true. We're playing with the darkness. We don't know who pulled the trigger on Uldren at the end of Forsaken, and we may never know. And now we're playing with the darkness. We're being enticed by the Drifter and his Gambit and his Gambit Prime. And now the 9 is involved, who is an incredibly shady group of people as well. Like we don't know what their whole stake is in all of this. So might that be true? Might this be the precursor to a Destiny 3 where we're toying with the darkness? Do we go full on darkness in Destiny 3, or do we have the option to go full on light? Does that come into play? With the Gambit armor sets, are we diving deeper into these RPG elements that become even more pronounced in Destiny 3? Is that where we see strike armor and crucible armor and story armor and all the different perks that go into that, and raid armor? Is that where all of this stuff comes into play? So I think it's interesting that this rumor we read about a while back could be kind of coming to the forefront as we speed towards Destiny 3 or whatever the future of Destiny looks like. It's pretty exciting to think about, man.
I mean, can you think of a more impactful narrative mechanic to shake up Destiny than having Guardians choosing sides against one another?
Absolutely not.
I mean, that would be a monumental shift in the way people play this game.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be critical. But I mean, we heard that rumor months ago and we talked about it.
Yeah. And
now we have this stuff in these lore pieces that are like, oh my God, this is really where we're going with this.
Yeah.
This is hot, dude. Like this is legit excitement. Dude, out of all the pieces of lore that we've read over the years, the stuff that we've been getting in these documents and from Una, incredible stuff, dude, that really has people like going, man, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, dude, this September update, whatever we're getting in September, this could be huge, dude.
Mm-hmm.
This could be huge.
Dude, there's so many big storylines playing out behind the scenes of Destiny right now. And it got me wondering, like, I wonder if maybe that at some point, or maybe that's what they're doing right now. Like, maybe the plan with Destiny is that we're going to build up all these subplots in the background, much like a comic book would, where you got the main story playing out, and then in the background you build these subplots, and eventually they come to a head. There's a lot of subplots in Destiny right now, from the state of the Vanguard to what's going on with the Fallen, to what's going on with the Awoken and Prince Uldren being resurrected, and everything that's going on. There's some big things happening in the world of Destiny. Savathun is on the horizon. She has to be the main antagonist for this fall update, if there is one. She has to be. So we have to be returning to the Dreadnought and dealing with the Taken once again when that comes into play. So all of this stuff's going on in the background. Now we're playing with the darkness and the drifters on the scene and the Nine, and there's still things going on with Rasputin and the War Mines, and there's all these subplots that are going on in the background of this gigantic, just epic world that they've created with Destiny here. Do we see all this stuff start to come to a head in Destiny 3? I think that would be really cool if they're able to play that out. But I think, yeah, I mean, I can think of, as we currently sit, no better direction to go for Destiny 3. No better way to shake up this narrative and to bring this to a head than to bring the darkness onto the field, because we know we're going to meet them. We saw them at the end of Destiny 2. We saw their ships in right outside of the solar system making their way here. We know we're going to encounter them at some point here. Will we be able to wield their powers? It's going to be very interesting to find out.
It's going to be hot, dude.
Indeed. Let's move on. So, we mentioned some things that are coming the rest of this week, Brent, and there's some very exciting things here. So last week, Reckoning Tiers 1 and 2 went live, bringing players to the plane of the Nine. Tomorrow, Tier 3 will become available, opening the chase to fully unlock your Gambit Prime perks. So this is what we talked about. The activity will have a power level requirement of 680. Players will need to fully upgrade their synthesizer to enter. Modifiers are also active in this playlist, so be ready to mix up your arsenal for the challenge. Matchmaking will continue to be available if you're looking to take on the challenge without a pre-made fire team. Things may be a little trickier without strategy or communication, so prepare for some white knuckles as you race the clock to eliminate the darkness. We'll be watching, as will the Nine. So I'm curious, Brent, when you see that statement, things may be a little trickier without strategy or communication, might there be some newer mechanics involved in Tier 3 of the Reckoning?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if they're talking about you need to communicate and strategize, yeah, there's definitely going to be some mechanics here. It's not just going to be a simple, wipe out the horrors, get to 100%, here comes the boss. There's going to be something else that you're going to have to do in order to drop a shield or do something to inflict damage. So, yeah, you're going to have your head on a swivel and pay attention, because this is going to be something different.
Could we see a mechanic something similar to Escalation Protocol, maybe, where there's a rotating series of bosses that each have their own kind of way that you have to attack them? I think that would be an interesting way to go with Tier 3, depending on how it all plays out.
As long as we don't have any of those Taken Thrall coming out and blowing up and healing people, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, we could do without those. That's not the only thing that goes live tomorrow. This is a busy week for Destiny. Thorn Quest, Allegiance Quest, Tier 3 of the Reckoning, and this thing, which is one of the things I was honestly most excited about with the Joker's Wild update, is this idea of the Xur bounties, which are now invitations of the Nine. So this also begins tomorrow. To begin, you'll need to track down Xur. In addition to his exotic inventory, he'll offer a quest item for you to complete each week for up to 9 weeks. Each week you engage, you'll be invited to learn more about the Nine and unlock lore pages to dive deeper into their story. Really, really excited about this, because the Nine is one of the things I just find really, really interesting about the Destiny universe. They're so mysterious, and I want to know about them and what they're about, and why this guy shows up in the tower every week with these exotic wares, and what they're doing with the Drifter, just what their deal is. Like, why is their home world or their plane in the back of the Drifter ship? Like, what is going on with these people? I wanna know about this stuff. So I'm super excited to see what these bounties are, these quest lines, and what these lore pages are going to deliver. Can't wait to read about them, man.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm really curious to see more about this as well. We're going to have such a busy weekend, dude.
Very
We
busy.
have a lot of stuff we got to get into, but exciting times for Destiny. We get a new map next week, so I mean that's exciting for Gambit Prime. We get Legion's Folly. So I mean we got Deep Six is out now. Legion's Folly is out.
I haven't even played Deep Six.
I don't know. That's why I'm pissed. I haven't played this week, man. I haven't been able to check out Deep Six.
Yeah.
We had to Titan for a match of Gambit Prime. That's awesome.
Yeah, I really like the way that map looked too. Which by the way, the first map, New Arcadia, is really cool. Really,
yeah, I like that one. It's
really
nice
cool,
map.
really cool Gambit map. So I imagine that Deep Six is going to be cool as well. Yeah, so busy weekend ahead of us when it comes to Destiny. Got a lot to do. I'm gonna have to cut my family off for a few days and just see if I can excuse myself for a little Destiny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some other things going on in terms of polishing the game. So this is what I want to get your take on, Brent. So Gambit matchmaking. These are fixes they're looking at and quality of life issues they're looking to address. So with the release of this blog article, Gambit received some updates to matchmaking. So this is interesting. They just push this right into the game right now. So this is active currently in the game right now, and it's still a little unclear what changes they can implement in the game immediately and what needs to be held off for a patch. But this is still cool that they can do stuff like this in the game immediately. Mm-hmm. So Gambit is a team-based activity, and as such, players who are in a pre-made fire team have a communication advantage. To offset that advantage, we've raised the internal skill rating of pre-made fire teams to pull in higher skill enemies to fight against. With this change, even as a solo player, you'll still have a chance. Plus, your other matched fire teammates should be higher skilled as well. Solo players of low skill should expect to match other solo players more frequently. Higher skill teams will also match teams more frequently. Brent, your thoughts on this, man?
I like that. It's going to keep things a little bit more balanced. I don't think you're going to see as many blowouts as that we kind of ran into. I mean, there's been a couple where we were just housing teams.
Yeah.
And this kind of, again, it's the most frustrating thing when you're going into a match-made event, going in solo, and you drop in and you see the other squad is like an entire clan. And then you're just like, crap, this is going to be over before it starts. So again, these are decisions these are things that have to be implemented in order to keep things a little bit more balanced. Mm-hmm. So those matches are nicely contested matches.
Yeah, this idea of a pre-made fire team having their internal skill rating increased to pull in higher skilled enemies. That's an interesting one. Mm-hmm. Very, very curious to see how that works and if it evens the playing field. But yeah, I'll be very curious to see how these changes are in effect. They're also looking at Gambit Prime synths. This is an interesting change. Shortly after the release of Gambit Prime, players began filling their inventory with Prime Armor synths, tentatively planned for hotfix 2.2.0.2, which is the next hotfix on the horizon. Players will be able to exchange a stack of 5 synths for 100 Glimmer with the Drifter. The intention of this isn't to give players a means of acquiring large amounts of Glimmer, but strictly to help address inventory issues. This sounds like a good move to me. There's going to be people with tons of synths in their inventory that they're going to have an easy way to get to cash those in for Glimmer.
Turn in 10 for an enhancement core.
I like that. Let's make that happen.
I know you do.
Reckoning modifiers. In early playtests at the studio, Prism proved to be more challenging than intended in higher tiers of Reckoning, and we plan to remove it in the first patch proactively. When we launched last week, we collected some fairly positive feedback with Prism and wanted to react quickly to remedy that change. Since Glass seemed more problematic, as Jacob mentioned earlier, we wanted to take action there too. Tentatively planned for the next hotfix, we will be replacing Glass with Prism. Tier 3 goes live tomorrow, so we'll continue to monitor feedback and make adjustments as needed. Interesting change there. So that's kind of like the big Gambit issues that they're quality of life issues that they're looking at for the next hotfix. We talked about some of the main things that they addressed with the current patch that's out right now. There are some other known issues that are out there. If you want to hop into the This Week at Bungie, you can find out everything that's going on with the Allegiance quest and the Power Surge bounties and a couple things here and there with some perks and different classes of enemies. There's a couple interesting things in there. If you are in the middle of an Allegiance quest, definitely check that out. There's one in particular. Yeah. that I think we should mention. It reads as follows: This week, players who own Destiny 2 Forsaken Annual Pass are being asked to make a choice: pledge to the Vanguard or side with the Drifter. Since this ultimatum has gone live, Destiny player support has monitored reports regarding an issue where players who make their choice while they have a full pursuit inventory are not receiving either quest item, regardless of which side they choose or which side they chose. So please, if you are like us and have not chosen a side or an allegiance as of right now, make sure that you have room in your pursuit tab when you accept this quest. We are currently working to resolve this issue in an upcoming hotfix. In the meantime, all players should ensure they have space available in their pursuits inventory prior to accepting either of these quests from the Drifter. As always, we'll be sure to sign off with more information when it's available. So that's a big one, right?
Yeah, that's a big one. Keep an eye on that.
So please pay attention to that. And like I said, there's some other issues that they are looking at addressing as well. You can find those in This Week at Bungie. Other than that, that's going to do it for us this week, Brent. There's, like I said, lots of stuff going on in the game right now. Lots of stuff coming next week. As Bungie mentions in the blog here, we still have we've got the Revelry coming up soon. We've got Gambit Prime Private matches. We got Arc Week coming up. So there's still lots of stuff on the calendar for Season of the Drifter. Hard to believe we're already halfway through March. You know, as we sit today, and yeah, by the time we get into some of these other activities, you know, March will be over before you know it, and then we'll be just 2 months away from Season of Opulence. So we're just moving and grooving here. But until then, there's lots to do in Season of the Drifter. Lots of things to obtain. Some very cool exotics and armor pieces. I don't know if you've seen some of these exotic armor pieces, but have you seen that? It's that hunter one, the Liar's Handshake.
Yeah.
That thing looks cool.
It does. I'd love to get one of them.
In the Crucible, I was watching Cross, but he made a video where he was showing what this thing did, and in the Crucible, like your melee does, I think 100 damage, but you take a melee from the opposing team at 100, and you retaliate with a melee at 300.
Yeah.
So you
beat the hell out of one hit. Yeah, it's awesome.
That thing looks very cool. So yeah, I'm sure curse that exotic at some point when you dastardly hunters get your hands on it. But yeah, there's lots of cool stuff in the game right now. Some cool new perks as well. New perks that revolve around killing enemies and damage buffs, which are things that we wanted to see more in that vein, other than just rampage and kill clips. There's some new ones in there for that. So there's lots of new and exciting things in Season of the Drifter right now. So make sure you get in there, check that out, sound off on your favorites in the comments and all that kind of stuff. We'll be playing this game and giving our thoughts on this throughout the entire season here. Brent, anything else you want to get off your chest, man?
No,
that's pun intended.
No, man. Yeah, just this virus, whatever the hell it is. No, man, just excited to get back into things after being out for a couple days. Yeah, this weekend we're going to be busy with it, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to having a nice long weekend with Destiny as well myself. Once again, if you like Tower Talk, if you like what we do here on the show, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Hit the bell when you subscribe so you always know when we go live. The goal is to do Tower Talk every Thursday around 10 p.m. Eastern after This Week at Bungie has gone live. So be on the lookout for us then. We will be back next week with another episode of the show, and we'll talk about whatever's in This Week at Bungie and what we've been doing in the game. Brent, you want to give one last shout out to everybody we had in the chat today?
Yeah, Perfect Wolf, Senior, Jacob, and Fear the Beard was in there tonight. So we appreciate you guys stopping by and talking Destiny 2 with us, man. Always good hearing from you guys.
Yeah, always good to hear from you guys. So other than that is going to do it for us. For Brent Felsing, I'm Ben Boyce. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good weekend.
See you guys.